It's the appointed time, and we have a quorum. I call to order the meeting. Today's meeting of the panel on transport, there are 4 agenda items. First, information papers issued since last meeting. Since the last meeting, the Secretariat has issued 2 information papers to members. They are set out on the agenda. They are LC paper number CB bracket 31452/2025. It's the report of the Subcommittee on matters relating to railways to the panel on transport. The other one is LC paper number CB bracket 31471/2025 bracket 01. That's MTRC's response to the letter dated the 19th of September this year from Mr. Gary ZHANG on creating pet-friendly spaces. Please take note of these 2 papers. Agenda item 2, southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles. I'd like to ask our staff to invite representatives from the administration as well as those from the airport authority to join us. Those who'd like to speak, please press the request to speak button. Please refer to LC paper number CB bracket 31449/2025 bracket 01. That's the paper provided by the administration. Let's welcome Secretary for Transport and Logistics, Ms. Mabel Chen, as well as the other representatives from the airport authority and the TLB to enter the meeting room. Secretary, please walk us through the paper. Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Today's topic is the southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles. The SAR government as well as Guangdong have been working together to promote different kinds of cross-boundary transport policies. We want to strengthen the connectivity between the 2 places. The southbound travel scheme can benefit residents from Hong Kong and the mainland. It can ensure 2-way travel. Through the flow of people, we can create greater synergy. And then we can also promote the social, economic, and tourism development of the 2 places. We can also inject new impetus to the GBA. We can also strengthen connectivity between Hong Kong and the mainland as well as with the rest of the world. This is a very good project for both Hong Kong and Guangdong. This July, we have already announced this southbound travel scheme. In the supplement of the 2025 policy address, it is also stated that the governments of Guangdong and Hong Kong are pressing ahead with the southbound scheme to allow eligible Guangdong private cars to go to the automated car parks on the artificial island at the Hong Kong port of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. And drivers from Guangdong can then transfer to a flight via the international airport in Hong Kong or enter into Hong Kong using local transportation here. On the other hand, without obtaining regular quotas, drivers from Guangdong will be able to, via the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, reach the different parts of Hong Kong. We have 4 strategies under this scheme. We want to ensure safety, effective diversion, well-equipped supporting facilities, and streamlined application. Based on these 4 strategies, we are promoting this southbound scheme. We've got results through our preparatory work, and we are here today to report to members on the progress and to listen to members' views. On ensuring safety, we will, through different channels, disseminate information to mainland drivers. We will, in a straightforward and easily comprehensible way, brief people in Guangdong about the road safety measures in Hong Kong. Guangdong drivers will have to comply with the vehicle inspection requirements of Hong Kong. We're commissioning relevant organizations to set up inspection centers on the mainland. Second, on effective diversion, I'd like to talk about port car parks. We will first commission the Park and Fly car park. We will provide about 1,800 parking spaces, allowing 24-hour automated parking and airport drop-off and pick-up services. Today we have the colleagues from the airport authority here. They may tell you more about their preparation work in this regard. For those entering into the urban area of the Hong Kong, we will offer 100 daily booking quotas as a start. We will allow each Guangdong vehicle to stay in Hong Kong for up to 3 days. Based on the implementation of the scheme, adaptability of users and the public, as well as the usage of supporting facilities, we will continue to talk to Guangdong to progressively increase the number of quotas. Through different channels, we will disseminate parking guides to tourists to guide them to different cultural, sports, tourism, exhibition, and entertainment attractions in Hong Kong. We will also tell them where they can park their cars. We will ask visitors after coming to Hong Kong to transfer to different public transports in Hong Kong, which can lead them to different places. We will tell them about the popular public transports in Hong Kong so that they can reach the different locations in Hong Kong and appreciate the scenery on the two sides of the Victoria Harbour. At the same time, they can experience our service efficiency as well as the history of our public transports and the scenery created by these public transport. Through this, we can also divert visitors and avoid cars concentrating on one specific location. We will, based on the experience, increase the information to be included in the guides. For example, we will add more cultural and tourism spots in the guides. We will also tell visitors how they can make use of the car parks near, for example, hotel and park and ride facilities to transfer to public transports. We hope that visitors can make use of our public transportation and enhance their visiting experience. Of course, more importantly, we want to attract them to stay in Hong Kong, especially stay in Hong Kong overnight. This is one of the appeal of the Southbound scheme. Thirdly, we want to enhance our supporting facilities. We are encouraging major developers as well as private car operators to enhance their parking facilities. On parking spaces, we have been concerning about this in this council. We have to work hard continuously. We have to make sure that we can do the following 3 things. First, we have to make sure that local car parks can provide mainland means of payment. Also, we will provide charging facilities that meet the national standards, and we want to introduce contactless gate entry. Some of the Guangdong vehicles, they make use of left-hand drive, but in Hong Kong, we make use of right-hand drive. We want to, through advanced facilities, such as contactless entry gate, allow these Guangdong vehicles to get into the car parks. At the same time, near Lantau, that is close to the port of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, as well as at the port car parks, we are introducing quick charging facilities. We've got very positive feedback from the trade, and we're working hard in this regard. For mainland residents who are eligible, they may apply for the Southbound scheme. In terms of car inspection, license inspection, as well as insurance arrangement, we will roll out relevant measures to help Guangdong drivers meet the requirements. According to the Guangdong mainland authorities, applicants have to hold valid mainland identification documents, and they have to have a full driving license of non-commercial vehicles. They have to hold a car with not more than 8 seats, and they have to hold a valid Hong Kong full driving license as well. Like the northbound scheme, each applicant, they may designate not more than 2 drivers for each vehicle. One of them will have to be the applicant, so that we can link up vehicle with the drivers concerned. When we discussed this with Guangdong, we will roll out the relevant arrangements, and the SAR government, together with the mainland authorities, will keep in close communication to make sure that the future law enforcement actions will be effective. It is expected that the Southbound scheme will bring in new visitor groups. For example, the higher spending family visitors, as well as business travelers, those who are attending exhibitions here, and those who will use the professional services and catering services here. We are at the last stage of the Southbound scheme. After we have sorted out the final details with the Guangdong authorities, we will announce the relevant scheme as soon as possible. We hope to commence the scheme in November. We believe that at the port car parks, as well as for the immigration arrangement, we will receive applications starting from November. For the port car parks, starting from November, we will accept booking reservations, and they will be commissioned starting from November. In terms of the immigration arrangement and for those who are entering into the urban area in Hong Kong, we hope that they can start coming from the end of this year. We are carrying out tests and drills to make sure that the scheme will be implemented smoothly. As mentioned, we hope that the trade can seize the opportunity. We will provide consumption discounts as well as parking discounts to bring visitors to different attractions in Hong Kong. The hotel trade expresses support to the scheme. I hope to take this opportunity to listen to members' views. And we hope that through members' views, we'll be able to refine our work. We also hope to have the trade as well as the community's support to create a positive atmosphere and vibe for the Southbound scheme. Lastly, this Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge will ensure two-way travel, and it will benefit different sectors in Hong Kong. We are confident that this scheme will be implemented in an orderly manner to make sure that there will be a win-win situation for all parties in Hong Kong. We're happy to take members' views and questions. I thank Secretary for briefly telling us the major arrangements under the Southbound travel scheme. Now I open the floor for questions. I'll read out the lineup of members who would like to speak. First, Mr. Chen Pui-leung, followed by Mr. Michael Tin, Mr. Chao Shiu-chung, Dr. Lo Wai-kwok, Mr. Andrew Lam, Mr. Ben Chen, Mr. Frankie Yik, and lastly myself. I'll give each member 4 minutes, including questions and answers. If time allows, I may allow members to speak for the second round. First, Mr. Chen Pui-leung. Thank you. First, I very much welcome the idea that the Southbound travel scheme will be implemented soon. This will benefit the exchanges of people between mainland and Hong Kong. This will also benefit different trades, including retail and hotel industry. I have a couple of questions. On the park and fly car parks, there will be 1,800 parking spaces to begin with, but there's no mention in the paper how many days these cars can be parked in the car park. Say if a driver makes use of this car park, how many days can the car be parked in this car park? Because this will affect the turnover of Guangdong cars. If the car is parked there for a long time, that could be a problem. Secondly, it is mentioned in the paper for drivers getting to the urban parts of Hong Kong, there will be one-stop services to be provided by the Car Inspection Center. That includes preparation and installation of Hong Kong license plates. That means for Guangdong drivers who come to Hong Kong, they'll have to apply for a driving license from Hong Kong. According to the paper, these drivers who come to Hong Kong, they'll have to make sure that a Hong Kong license plate will be installed on their vehicle. Is that right? Say a Guangdong vehicle comes to Hong Kong for 3 days and you're asking these drivers to drill holes on their cars and install a Hong Kong license plate. Would that be too problematic if they're here just for 3 days? Also, you can issue electronic licenses. Why do you still need the Guangdong drivers to have the Hong Kong license plates installed? Well, can you look into this and streamline the relevant procedure? Lastly, on information dissemination, According to the paper, drivers will be able to make use of the e-mobility app and the information on the Transport Department's website and learn more about the scheme. My suggestion is this. Many people on the mainland, they get information through their mobile phones. If you ask them to go to these websites, I believe for them, this would not be very convenient. Will you design a Southbound travel scheme app which cover all the information? In Hong Kong, we nowadays make use of e-licenses. You can also include information about hotels as well as other industries so that mainland drivers, through one app, they can get all the information they need. It would facilitate their travel here. You can even include information about their insurance so that when they open the app, they can get the third-party insurance information in case there are any car accidents they face. They're able to obtain the relevant information through the app. So will you be able to come up with a Southbound scheme app for mainland drivers?
Secretary, will you ask the airport authority representative to answer the first question, and then the other questions can be answered by the secretary? Sure. We will arrange for some inspection centers in Guangdong to do several things. While vehicles are to be inspected, we will have the centers disseminate information to users. We are also working with the Guangdong authorities to have the inspection centers provide a Hong Kong registration mark to the vehicles and maybe help them install the registration marks as well. Having a Hong Kong registration mark will help with the charging of fees. And if we can have a standardized design, it will be easier for us to implement the arrangements. In Guangdong, when applications are being accepted, they will make sure that certain specifications are met. Even though it may just be 3 days that the users will be here, but they may come again, so the registration mark can come in handy in future trips. As for whether we should develop an app specifically for the Southbound travel scheme, we will consider this. But right now, we only allow for a 100 place quota for entry into the urban area. We want to accumulate experience first. We do encourage people to use specific apps of the government, but if we can integrate our functions in apps that are already commonly used by mainland drivers, it will be beneficial, and we are going to perhaps explore the different options. I will now ask the airport authority representative answer the question on park and fly. We do set a time limit of 30 days. We have been operating the airport for 27 years. According to our records, not many cars will be parked there for over 30 days. So this number is derived based on our experience. Thank you. In November, we will have the 100 places essentially for individual visits. But the problem is, in Hong Kong, we have a high population density and vehicular density. I understand that government will increase the quota in future. If we increase the number, we can never increase the number to the range of 3,000 because it can be too much of a burden on the roads of Hong Kong. there are significant differences between the transport systems of Hong Kong and the mainland, and we expect the drivers taking advantage of the southbound travel scheme to be someone completely unfamiliar with Hong Kong roads. I would say this: the government is adopting a two-pronged approach. You have point-to-point arrangements, you also have the individual visit arrangements. And the government's arrangements for clearance will attract families because they would want to have convenient clearance, not having to get out of their vehicles. But it will not facilitate their entry into urban areas. So I think you will have some parking spaces on Lantau Island. You can perhaps also have some parking spaces in Sunny Bay. I also want to ask, if you are widening Tung Chung Road from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, it will be more convenient for people to get from Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge to the area on Lantau. If you allow families to take advantage of the point-to-point arrangements, it can be quite attractive. So the hotel industry is interested, but it seems that the Secretary for Development wants to discuss with the Secretary for Transport and Logistics further on this. What is the situation? Next, Disneyland. We have a lot of creations of Disneyland in the past. I don't know if there will be something as creative in future, but I would just want to say that for Disneyland car park, there are some designated parking spaces. So would you consider expanding capacity by making use of these other arrangements I mentioned? Mr. Michael Tian, you may have to reserve some time for the Secretary to respond. Before the Secretary responds, I would like to remind members to prevent using both Chinese and English is language of speech to facilitate interpretation. Thank you. Chair, I just want to say this. I think the way I speak is commonly used by people. What I'm using is layman English. Thank you. Secretary, Mr. Tian's suggestions, we do note them. I will give a brief response now. We want to start small. We want to accumulate experience, reviewing the travelers' feedback, what they come here to do, so that we can diversify and enhance the experiences in an orderly manner. Mr. Tan mentioned perhaps we can provide parking spaces in Sunny Bay. I think that is a good suggestion. I think maybe we can have visitors park in hotel car parks or car parks with a great number of parking spaces, and then they can take public transport to different attractions. This is something we are considering. Well, I also want to ask, will you talk to Disneyland? We have been communicating with the Disneyland Resort, and we have received positive response from them. For the 100 places for the entry into the urban area, we do want to make sure to incorporate different attractions for a diversified experience. Will you consider point 1? Excuse me, I'll have the next member speak. Mr. Chao Siu-chung. In principle, I do not object to the southbound travel scheme, but we have to ensure safety. We also need to prevent causing an excessive burden on the roads and parking facilities of Hong Kong. I note in a particular paragraph of the paper, there are plans of the government to discuss with Guangdong authorities to increase the number of quotas. Has the government gauged what the maximum capacity of the roads of Hong Kong and the parking facilities of Hong Kong is before you reach further arrangements with the Guangdong authorities? We also have mainland drivers not used to right-hand drive environment in Hong Kong. Will you have for these drivers who are unfamiliar with Hong Kong road conditions so that they will have heightened awareness about the road situation in Hong Kong? We do have narrower roads. We have a lot of vehicles in Hong Kong. It is something that is quite different from the mainland. Would you impose some restrictions so that one can only apply for the Southbound travel scheme after they obtain Hong Kong driving qualifications for a while? I also want to ask, you said in the paper some enhancement measures will be implemented. Basically, we'll have contactless clearance or contactless gates. You will also have e-payment means available, but then many parking facilities, I imagine, will not provide such accommodation because you only have 300 vehicles coming into Hong Kong every day. I also want to ask, would you have a mechanism for the payment of fines? There will be convenient payment options available for one to pay the fines. Before they leave Hong Kong, can we find out whether they have paid the fines so that we can stop them from leaving if they have not paid such fines? Thank you. Secretary. Basically, there are 4 questions. All right, thank you, Mr. Chao Siu Chung. We are trying to accumulate experience first, and I think we cannot really quantify the capacity of the roads of Hong Kong. We try to adopt an attraction-oriented approach. We have been working with industry associations, chambers of commerce, especially the bodies in the hotel industry and the F&B industry and the MICE industry, so that we can provide for users of the Southbound travel scheme information on parking facilities available to them and what ancillary facilities may be available. As I answered Mr. Chen Pui Leung earlier, information dissemination is considered to be very important. We do want to provide information to users so that they know where to park or where to find some ancillary facilities, because we believe visitors want to go to attractions as soon as possible rather than circling around for parking spaces. We also included as an annex of a pamphlet in the paper. We are providing easy to understand information to users for them to know basic differences between the Hong Kong and mainland transport systems. We want to enhance their awareness in advance, but I would like to say that in mainland China, accident rates are much lower than those of Hong Kong. So I don't think we have to be worried. Also, when one is supposed to pay fines, we do provide e-payment means for one to pay fines. And in the management guidelines, if people have breached the law, we do have arrangements with Guangdong authorities to share information on this. Excuse me, Mr. Chao Siu-chung. So if one has not paid a fine, can they go back to the mainland?
Based on the actual circumstances, if we can deal with the fine in Hong Kong, we will do it immediately. For drivers who have already returned to mainland, there are ways for us to track them. In future, if they want to apply for a quota under the scheme again, there will be a note saying that they have previously breached the rule and we may disqualify them from applying for the scheme. Dr. Lo Wai Kwok. I want to declare that I am a member of the board of the Airport Authority. The Airport Authority is building 2 large-scale automated car parks on the artificial islands at the Hong Kong port. This will help enhance our status as a sea, air, and land transport hub, and visitors will be able to transfer to other places in the world through our airport. After having their cars parked in the automated car parks, they can also enter into Hong Kong. One of the car parks will be commissioned soon, and I believe that the car parking experiences for visitors will be very smooth. We will soon know how the scheme will operate. As for the other questions, actually, the Secretary has already touched on them in her opening remarks. I believe the government has already taken care of a lot of the aspects under the scheme. And there are many car parks in Hong Kong with a greater demand. I believe the trade will definitely work with the government to support the scheme. Any reply from the Secretary? Yes. The Airport Authority, especially the board members of the authority, have been supporting the scheme, and this scheme is a crucial one. And one of these automated car parks, which will be commissioned first, will be an important pilot for us. And this is also an important step for us to promote automated car parks as well as smart transportation and smart traffic. In terms of hardware and software, we have put in a lot of efforts in terms of the design. I want to thank the Airport Authority, and we want to enable residents from the GBA to have a very good experience in Hong Kong. We want to show them how they can conveniently park their cars here and transfer to the connecting flights. Dr. Lo has been helping us promote the advancement of car parks in Hong Kong. I'd like to report to members that in terms of introducing identification technology as well as national standard charging facilities as well as e-payment for the 10-odd car parks under the management of the TD, we have already provided these measures, and we're taking the lead in this regard. For car parks that are operated by major developers as well as private operators in Hong Kong, I hope that with more announcement of details of the scheme, they will speed up in terms of introducing these measures in their car parks so that we can better integrate into the Greater Bay Area. Next, Mr. Andrew Lam. This Southbound travel scheme is a way for us to receive visitors. From the public's perspectives, the top priority is safety, and that the public's daily commuting will not be affected. I believe mainland drivers will not come here to deliberately break the traffic laws. This paper prepared by the administration is very clear. So I'd like to just make 2 points from the cultural perspective. I'd like to bring up culture because mainland drivers have a different driving habit. They rely on the navigation system a lot. I see that you are going to tell mainland drivers how to read the traffic signs in Hong Kong, but a lot of times mainland drivers simply follow the navigation system. This is a cultural gap or cultural difference. Also, they use right-hand drive vehicles, and oftentimes when they go to our car parks, they are not ready to extend their hands outside the cars. And also, we may not be able to offer enough supporting facilities in our car parks. I believe the government has already thought about this all. I just hope that we can look at the cultural problems. We can look at their driving habits. For example, will the government develop apps, and will the mainland drivers actually download these apps? For the navigation system that they make use of, and for the kind of travel guides that they make use of all the time, can we include them in our own guides? I believe that your team has already thought of all these. I just hope that you can refine the details to make sure that for the first and second batches of visitors who come through the Southbound scheme, they will have a good experience and that they won't affect the traffic safety in Hong Kong. Secretary, I thank Mr. Andrew Lam. He brought up the potential cultural problems. I think it has to do with our driving habits. For mainland drivers, they have already got a full driving license, and I believe that they will attach importance to traffic safety. For Hong Kong drivers who travel to the north, they also have to pay attention to the traffic signs there. Likewise, for mainland drivers who drive to Hong Kong, well, it's the responsibility of the TD as well as the TLB. We have to tell mainland drivers as soon as possible about our traffic rules. We have to educate them. On the mainland, there are roads that allow cars to make U-turns. This is permitted on the mainland. For Hong Kong, roads here are narrow, and we may not allow drivers to make U-turns on every road. For these kind of details, we have to tell the mainland drivers. We will roll out travel guides as well as driving guides for mainland drivers. We have already produced several short videos. We'll also make use of apps. For mainland drivers, we will incorporate the relevant driving tips in the apps that they often make use of. We also want to make use of car owners clubs on the mainland. We want to hold talks through these clubs. Same for the car owners clubs in Hong Kong. They tell what Hong Kong drivers have to look out for when they drive to the mainland. And I thank the members for the suggestions. Next, Mr. Ben Chen. Safety is the top of mind of our people for this Southbound scheme. I hope the government will work harder in this regard. I hope you will disseminate the right information to the mainland drivers. This is to ensure peace of mind for everyone and to ensure safety. As for traffic congestion, I think it is reasonable for the government to start with 100 daily booking quotas. That means within 3 days there will be 300 cars from the mainland. I believe that we have room to bring in 300 cars within 3 days from the mainland. So I think this is an acceptable proposal. Under the Southbound scheme, mainland drivers will be able to drive directly to Hong Kong. They can enjoy shopping here. And so it will be more convenient for those who want to shop in Hong Kong. So this is an attractive scheme for mainland drivers. As for the airport authority, they will allow mainland drivers to get onto the connecting flights in Hong Kong through this scheme. And you will also offer drop-off and pick-up services to mainland visitors. You may charge a fee for those who use the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. You will also charge a fee for those who use the car park. I hope the airport authority will pay attention to the relevant details. I have the following suggestions. For mainland visitors who come to Hong Kong through the scheme, they'll have to get a Hong Kong driving license. There has been a long queue in the office in Admiralty. I believe the Transport Department has already introduced some measures. I want to know the progress of these measures. How would you shorten the queue in the office so that we won't give a negative impression to mainland visitors who want to get a driving license here? Now, on fixed penalty tickets for mainland drivers who fail to pay the fine, they will get a letter from the court. For mainland drivers, how will they be able to get the letter? If they fail to pay the fine will accumulate, and that will be a huge sum. How will we be able to tell mainland drivers about this? Will we, for example, create a sample for them to tell them if they fail to pay the fine for a certain number of days, it will accumulate to a huge sum? Thirdly, there are many map companies in the mainland. They have the biggest map companies. For example, there is a guide that tells mainland visitors where they can get good food in Hong Kong. Under the Southbound scheme, will the government take the initiative to talk to the map companies in Hong Kong to remind mainland drivers where there will be charging facilities and parking spaces? We can even offer driving tips to them through the map so that mainland drivers can get all this information on the map to remind them of the safety. I'll ask Ms. Lee to tell you more. Commissioner, on getting driving license, we believe that mainland drivers in future will be able to apply for driving licenses through our licensing department. We have done a lot in terms of shortening the queue. We have asked intermediaries and agents to line up. We have also allowed people to make online bookings. We hope that by December we'll be able to allow applicants to get the exam-free license online instead of having them queue up in our office. Currently, we only have the office in Admiralty for people to get their licenses. We will extend the arrangement to 3 other offices in future to provide greater convenience to the public. As for the different fees to be charged, we'll definitely make sure that we will step up publicity. We will teach people how to make use of HKE toll to pay the fees. On making use of maps, a lot of the information to be provided will be shared with third-party operators and service providers. There are navigation systems or apps that tell people how long they'll have to wait in front of a traffic light. And we have been liaising with third-party service providers and see whether they're interested in including tourism information in their mapping system.
Next, Mr. Frankie Yik. We have said on multiple occasions that we support the Southbound travel scheme. If everything is ready, we should implement that as soon as possible. I actually raised in a letter I sent earlier about the Southbound travel scheme. There are 2 major concerns. One, how we can prevent illegal carriage of passengers for reward cross-boundary. And I understand the applications will have to go through the Hong Kong side as well, so you have information on the drivers. In future, I hope that you can have a legislation for you to check when a vehicle enters a Hong Kong port, whether the driver is someone that should be allowed in Hong Kong. If not, you should bar them from entering Hong Kong. Mr. Tang Ping-keung answered a question of mine earlier in relation to this, and they said that it may cause a serious congestion with this. But all I'm asking for is random inspections, and you only need to make a few into examples to stop people from abusing the system. You also said that you are working with mainland authorities to see how we can implement prior checking of the drivers. What is the government's plans in this regard? During weekend and public holidays, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge often saw congestion because there are too many private cars. It affects public transport services too. During peak hours, how will the government alleviate congestion? Will you have specific roads that would allow cross-boundary buses to quickly pass through? After all, we are implementing a public transport-oriented policy. Thank you, Secretary. We do want to have specific deterrence on combating illegal carriage of passengers for reward. I'll perhaps ask the Commissioner for Transport or my other colleagues to provide the latest situation. Right now, we do understand for some peak periods, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge can be congested. So we have worked with port authorities, including the authorities on the Zhuhai side. For those periods, we have some lanes open up for the quick passing through of cross-boundary buses. The Zhuhai port has also enhanced their port facilities to have more clearance facilities for private cars. We have kept in close view of the situation. We believe with dynamic arrangements, we can manage the situation. Thank you. Who is going to answer the question on combating illegal carriage of passengers for reward? Deputy Secretary, Mr. Edward Mack. Thank you. We attach great importance to this issue, and in fact, in a government paper, we said specifically private cars cannot be used for such operations under the Southbound travel scheme. If one is found to be providing such services, they will be disqualified from the scheme. We are also planning to have some sort of checking at the mainland port, and enforcement action may be taken. We are still discussing the relevant arrangements with the mainland authorities. The local law enforcement agencies will also check vehicles to make sure the drivers driving the vehicles are tied to the vehicles concerned. Thank you. Basically, the administration is saying that they will do some sort of checking, but they are still fleshing out the arrangements. Mr. Shu Ka-fai. Thank you. For the southbound travel scheme, it was a proposal made by us a while ago. It is finally happening. I do appreciate it. So we will have 100 vehicles per day, and the vehicles will be able to stay in Hong Kong for 3 days. I think this is the government having regard to the capacity of Hong Kong that you derive such quota. But then I think our capacity is more than that. Can you have dynamic assessments done so that we can review the quota and perhaps add more places to the quota? I want to talk about northbound travel as well. The first time I drove to the mainland, I drove to a hotel because there was a parking space at the hotel. The second time I drove to a shopping mall, I parked the vehicle there, and then I went everywhere after that. And the third time I moved further, and the fourth time even further. So I think with mainland drivers, they may have a similar pattern. And if we can consider this pattern and provide parking spaces, it may be beneficial. But we also have to consider the needs of local drivers. We need to consider the provision of parking facilities, especially for shopping malls. If we have shopping malls that are less popular among citizens, we can perhaps communicate with those shopping malls so that they can provide parking facilities for users of the southbound travel scheme. Thank you. Secretary, thank you, Mr. Chu, for your comments. We have all along received strong support of the Guangdong authorities to have our standards arrangements aligned, and we had drills. We have also prepared the relevant document. It really shows the country's support for the scheme. As for what we are going to do in future to take another step forward, I would say this. We said this multiple times before. User feedback is very important. And as the member mentioned, people will have personal experiences, and we do want to get such feedback. As for local capacity, perhaps hotels, tourist attractions, theme parks, or exhibition venues, we have been working with hotel industry associations so that there can be some offers offered to southbound travel scheme users, so that there are packages that would cover hotel accommodation, attraction fees, maybe even F&B and shopping vouchers. If we can commence the relevant arrangements for having 100 vehicles entering urban area this year, there is much potential. In future, we can have people go to mega events venues such as the airport, Asia World Expo, and these can provide parking facilities as well as accommodation for the visitors. In society, we do want to provide parking facilities in different districts. We want to instill confidence in the business sector that there is great potential with this scheme so that they can enhance their facilities. So community support is very important. We do want to tell the public that this is something positive for them. However, we'll tap the pulse of the community so that they know of such benefits, and we want to start small to facilitate this. Thank you. Mr. Eric Yim. The northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles and southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles facilitate the 15-minute neighborhood concept. The government has done much to encourage this. We have some park and ride facilities. We have also the arrangements relating to entry into the urban area. You right now have plans to allow 100 vehicles daily. I think people understand that there's a need for park and fly and park and ride arrangements. But then for entry into the urban area, it's not exactly reasonable, because for Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, the fees charged would have been $300 already. If we can have more facilitation measures, and in future we can provide more facilities and increase the number of places, that would be ideal. Right now, for entry into urban area, we want to have 100 places, so we want to start small. We do want to maximize the utilization of the capacity on the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. We want to right now focus on having users under the southbound travel scheme make use of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. We will see in future whether we'll open other ports to the users of the southbound travel scheme. We want to make sure the park and ride and park and fly and entry into the urban area arrangements are implemented well. We will gauge user feedback and handling capacity of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge to ensure such arrangements provide a great experience for users. Thank you. Any follow-up questions? None? Mr. Gary ZHANG. The arrangements are something that I've been calling for many years. I have some suggestions to make. For the driver control assistance system, we do have a lot more vehicles having such system. These functions are commonly found in vehicles on the mainland, but not so much in vehicles of Hong Kong. Mainland vehicles coming in will need to have a Hong Kong registration mark when they are traveling in Hong Kong, so they can still use such systems in Hong Kong because they are using their own vehicles. However, if such systems are not trained with local data, there may be risks. The drivers may expect the same level of performance in the mainland as they do in Hong Kong, but it may not be the case. There may be risks as a result. If we have trained the systems with local data, drivers can better adjust to the transport system of Hong Kong. With such support, the differences in the transport conditions as well as left-hand drive and right-hand drive may not be so hard to iron out. So I hope the Bureau will work with mainland authorities so that for vehicle inspection, they should eliminate or they should suspend certain functions when the vehicles enter Hong Kong to make it safer. Or I think better still, we have localized functions so that the drivers can make use of such functions. Thank you.
Okay.
Secretary, rather technical question, but it's important. Yes, we have to confront this problem. As we implement the southbound travel scheme, we will continue to improve and refine our policy. We can not just stop at this stage. There are several things that we have to consider. For this first step, as we implement the scheme, we must ensure road safety. Therefore, we ask mainland drivers to undergo vehicle inspection, and the inspection results must comply with our standards. So, the Transport Department is commissioning approved organizations to carry out vehicle inspection on the mainland. We will adopt the standards that we apply in Hong Kong for the vehicle inspections. You mentioned about the advanced driver assistance system. Currently, we're leaning towards not allowing vehicles to have these systems installed. We understand that this kind of systems is very popular and common in the mainland, but then mainland drivers will have to get used to the traffic rules and signs in Hong Kong. At this stage, we will not allow mainland drivers to make use of these systems when they drive in Hong Kong. We'll make sure that mainland drivers are aware of this. Moving forward in Hong Kong, we have to move with the times and develop this kind of advanced driver assistance systems. So the Transport Department, together with Guangdong, will work out a mutual recognition system for vehicle inspections. We'll have to integrate standards in Hong Kong as well as the advanced technologies used in the mainland, under the premise that we can ensure safety and meet the relevant standards and requirements. We want to enhance our driving systems in Hong Kong. Now it's my turn. Now for both the southbound travel scheme and the northbound travel scheme, they are very effective in strengthening the connectivity between Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area. It also helps promote social and economic development between Hong Kong and the mainland. So I very much look forward to this southbound scheme. We're approaching November soon. For the first phase, there will be the park and fly arrangement and 100 booking quotas for mainland drivers to get to the urban areas in Hong Kong. We all hope that the government will implement the first phase soon. However, we have to be careful. We don't want this to backfire. We don't want many complaints from the locals or mainland drivers. I see that the government has put in a lot of effort in implementing the scheme. It has been talking to the mainland authorities to make sure that the entire process, starting from application, approval, inspection, as well as immigration clearance, we hope that we will be able to make sure everything will go smoothly. We will start with 100 booking quotas, and we will decide at a later stage where the number of quotas will be increased. So I look forward to this pilot scheme. My question is this. This has been asked by other members just now. Say there's a mainland driver who breaks the traffic rules in Hong Kong. According to paragraph 12 of the paper, Hong Kong and Guangdong governments will take relevant measures against those who overstay in Hong Kong or break the traffic rules here. For example, the government may disqualify these drivers from applying for the scheme again. I want to know if there will be a cooperation mechanism in place between the Guangdong and Hong Kong governments to deal with this kind of matters. So this question has to do with whether there is a mechanism in place. Also, I understand that some mainland drivers, they do not intend to, for example, break the traffic rules in Hong Kong. But if they break the rules here, you will notify them to pay a fine. As far as I understand, there should be a way for you to notify these drivers. Say the driver does not intentionally want to evade the responsibility, but how will they be able to pay the fine after they have returned to the mainland? In Hong Kong, you allow only a few payment options, such as credit card, as one of the e-payment options. In the mainland, people are used to, for example, WeChat and Alipay. Will you allow mainland drivers to access, for example, a website to pay the fines through e-payment means? Also, I understand that this southbound travel scheme is quite well received on the mainland. Many people on the mainland are looking forward to joining this scheme. However, according to some social media platforms, there is information that the northbound travel scheme will be extended. Even the southbound travel scheme will be extended to other ports or other places on the mainland. Some Guangdong drivers may be misled by the information, and when they come to Hong Kong, they may lose confidence in the city because of this misleading information. How will the government dispel the misunderstanding? How will you work with the mainland authorities on this? Secretary. Now, on the question about cooperation mechanism, we have been communicating very closely with the Guangdong provincial authorities. So there will be cooperation between the two sides as we continue to implement the southbound travel scheme. I hope that we can further refine and improve the relevant measures and policies. Now, as mentioned in paragraph 14 of the paper, we hope that mainland visitors as well as drivers who come to Hong Kong through the scheme, they will abide by the rules here. If they break the laws or regulations in Hong Kong, or if they violate the terms under the southbound scheme, we will, in accordance with the laws, follow up on the matters. I have chaired the relevant internal meetings myself. I have also talked to the relevant government departments, such as the Hong Kong Police Force, and they will cooperate with us in terms of law enforcement. Now, I've listened to the chairman's views. I understand that some mainland drivers, they do want to pay the fine if they break the traffic rules here. However, they are used to e-payment options. There are apps that they make use of often, so we strive to provide greater convenience to these drivers. Chairman also mentioned that there is some misleading information online. On that day, we have already clarified the information. Moving forward, together with Guangdong, there will be an arrangement in place. We will come up with a date on which we will announce the scheme officially. We will also announce details on the application procedures. Of course, we target in the first phase mainland residents who have a driving license in Guangdong. We will, through official channels, disseminate the relevant information and application details. We will also make use of social media platforms, including those in the mainland, to help disseminate information. There's a lot of work to be done, but we have heard views from the relevant trades and industries. They all hoped to seize the commercial and business opportunities and receive visitors who come to Hong Kong through the Southbound travel scheme. We'll continue to step up our work as we implement the scheme. When we first roll out the scheme, not all the support facilities and measures will be ready, but we will use the 100 booking quotas as a pilot, and as we continue to enhance the scheme, we hope to make further improvement. Thank you, Secretary. We are wrapping up this item now. We all look forward to the Southbound travel scheme. We hope that the scheme will be implemented in November, as mentioned by the government. I hope the government will come back to this panel to report to us on the progress after the scheme is rolled out. We're wrapping up this item now. I thank the representatives from the government as well as the Airport Authority for attending this item. Now we move on to agenda item 3. Progress of Traffic and Transport Strategy Study. Please refer to LC paper number CB-3 1449/2025-02. That's the paper provided by the administration. There is also a background brief prepared by the Legislative Secretariat and a submission from the Hong Kong Society for Rehabilitation. These are all set out on the agenda, so members should be aware of these already. I welcome again representatives from the Transport and Logistics Bureau and the other government representatives for being here for an exchange and a Q&A session. I welcome Mr. Edward Mack, Deputy Secretary for Transport and Logistics, Assistant Commissioner, and the other representatives from the Transport Department. The name list is set out on the agenda. Those who'd like to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. I'd first like to ask the administration to walk us through the paper LC paper number CB-3 1449/2025-02. Understand that there is a PowerPoint presentation. Is that right? Yes. Ms. Lee, Commissioner, please walk us through the paper. I'll first give a brief report, then I'll ask the Assistant Commissioner to give you a PowerPoint presentation. We all know that transportation is the lifeline of our city. It has to do with our daily lives as well as our economic growth. To enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness and to build a livable environment for people in Hong Kong, starting from 2021, we have kick-started a traffic and transport strategy study. The goal is to come up with a forward-looking blueprint so that our transport system remains reliable, safe, smart, environmentally friendly, and highly efficient. During the study period, we looked at different pieces of information, for example, the travel characteristics study, as well as the relevant analysis and the global trend of transportation. We've also visited different places, including the mainland, to learn. In July 2023, we reported to this panel about our interim analysis. In December in the same year, on 9 initial recommendations, we also consulted members of this panel. Afterwards, we have further collected views from professional bodies, academia, and the environmental sector and the transport sector. We've rolled out some pilot schemes. For example, we have the smart motorway management in Teng Kao Bridge and the autonomous driving tests and trials. Through our studies, we have come up with 3 major themes for the blueprint. That's enjoyable journeys, well-connected city, as well as the other theme, healthy mobility. We will adopt the dual mindset of policy innovation as well as technological innovation. We will make use of AI as well as other technologies to improve traffic management and the public transport facilities. We will build a new generation of transport interchange hubs to provide greater convenience for the public. We'll also further improve public transport services to strengthen our connectivity with the Greater Bay Area. We will promote autonomous driving as well as smart motorway management. We will make good use of parking spaces and to build a bicycle-friendly environment. We will promulgate the blueprint by the end of this year. We are at the final stage of our preparatory work. Through the blueprint, we'll be able to leverage our strengths in public transportation, and that we will further improve the transportation network, and we will promote low carbon transformation to help build a livable environment for the public. I'll now ask the Assistant Commissioner, Mr. Leung Sai-ho, to give a presentation to members.
Mr. Leung Sai-ho, please. Thank you. I will now give a PowerPoint presentation on the latest progress of the TTSS and the general directions of transport strategies of the Transport Strategy Blueprint. We are implementing a people-centric approach, strengthening connectivity with both the mainland and the world, promoting efficient travel and embracing a green lifestyle. This is the vision. We have recommendations under Blueprint grouped under 3 main themes: enjoyable journeys, well-connected city, healthy mobility. These themes are interconnecting, and we have formulated 6 key strategies under the 3 themes. Theme 1, enjoyable journeys. Enjoyable journeys focuses on the people. We are attaching great importance to people's experiences in transport. We have under this theme strategy 1, developing transport hubs for strengthening internal and external connectivity to embrace new opportunities. With infrastructure and connections, we will be enhancing the function of transport hubs. We adopt an infrastructure-led approach. We will take forward the projects in the Hong Kong Major Transport Infrastructure Development Blueprint. Within Hong Kong, we have the Northern Metropolis, Northern Link Main Line and Spur Line, Northern Link Eastern Extension, and Northeast New Territories Line, with also the Central Rail Link and existing East Rail Line and 2 Mile Line. These will connect to the urban areas, significantly expanding railway coverage. In line with the vision to jointly develop the GBA on the rail, the HKSAR government and the Shenzhen Municipal People's Government are collaborating to advance 2 cross-boundary railway projects. In conjunction with the co-location arrangement for clearance, we will achieve comprehensive integration of the railway networks. Road-based public transport services will continue to play an important role. We will have more public transport services available, and we are also taking advantage of the redevelopment of New Huanggang Port and Shuttlecock Control Point to facilitate cross-boundary commute. We are also actively taking forward enhancements to northbound travel of Hong Kong vehicles, and right now we talked about southbound travel scheme. We will take that forward as well. We will promote sharing of transport-related information within the GBA. We will have, for smarter information, we also will provide better dissemination of information for passengers. We will have in transport interchange hubs different facilities to provide a better commute experience for passengers. We will reserve space for the transport interchange hubs. We will make sure to incorporate such facilities in the plans of new development areas. We want to benefit people's livelihood through providing smart, green, and diversified transport under our strategy 2. We will continue to accelerate the development of new energy public transport and actively promote the smart and green mass transit system to reduce carbon emissions. For personalized point-to-point transport services, we will enhance the quality of taxi services. We have mandated the installation of journey recording systems. We also ask drivers to provide electronic payment means in future. We will also enhance public transport services and the flexibility of such services. For the more remote areas especially, we will recommend utilizing technology to monitor and forecast passenger demand to have more efficient routes and flexible schedules in response to demand. In new development areas for planning of public transport services, we will make use of this model to test the feasibility of implementing this service mode. To take into account an aging population, we will continue to strengthen public transport services. We will fully implement barrier transport policy, and we will have more priority seats. Theme 2, well-connected city. We are keen to leverage technology and AI to build a more intelligent transport network. We have, again, 2 strategies under this theme. Strategy 3, promoting digital management to lead development with innovative technology. Essentially, we will establish a traffic management platform that integrates big data, analytics, and AI technologies, leading traffic management technology to the forefront globally. We want to make use of technology to optimize traffic flow efficiency and enhance coordination of the transport system. It will not only assist in traffic management, but also collect and integrate data for citizens' planning of their commute. We will commence the study in 2026. We expect within 2 to 3 years, regional trials will be conducted in urban areas and new development areas before gradually expanding to other districts. We also are trying to introduce and drive industry efforts to conduct autonomous vehicle trials and applications in various communities to accelerate the progress towards driverless and large-scale deployment. We are testing out 3 pilot projects of cross-district applications, including the Airport City Link, a project spanning Kowloon City and Guangdong, encompassing the Kai-Tak development area, as well as an extension of the current project on North Lantau. We will study the use of autonomous vehicles to connect with other modes of transport, such as between West Kowloon Station and Kowloon Station, so that we can carry passengers between 2 locations in future. We will also strive to launch trial projects for remotely operated autonomous vehicles within 2026. The Northern Metropolis presents boundless opportunities for advancing autonomous vehicle development. The Northern Metropolis can be one of Hong Kong's prime trial zones. So we will actively promote the introduction of autonomous driving and applications in the Northern Metropolis. We have seen with AI helping with the smart motorway pilot scheme. It has greatly enhanced incident detection rate and efficiency in handling such incidents. To promote smart motorway management, we will work with other departments to incorporate early on in their planning smart motorway elements in their designs, or when roads are being maintained or replaced, we will also incorporate such elements. On parking resources, we are also trying to make use of public facilities to provide more parking spaces. We are also making use of automated car park systems. We will provide roadside nighttime parking spaces. We also allow for shared use parking spaces to make good use of metered parking spaces. We will also conduct a new round of parking demand study to review relevant parking policies so as to make sure there is an adequate supply of parking spaces for commercial vehicles. The third theme is healthy mobility. We also have two strategies under this theme. We have first, strategy 5, building a green and low carbon living circle through transport planning. To build a low carbon living circle, the government will introduce a 15-minute neighborhood planning concept. By incorporating different facilities in the same neighborhood, travel distances will be shortened, enabling residents to easily reach various locations by walking, cycling, or using electric mobility devices. We will also accord priority to the space needed for active transport modes in street planning. Strategy 6, ensuring a safe and inclusive environment for healthy and vibrant travel. We are promoting cycling and the use of electric mobility devices as a means of short-distance travel and first or last-mile connections to other transport facilities. We understand that there are different standards of electric mobility devices, so we will introduce a bill to ensure effective regulation next year. We will also review the regulatory framework for electric mobility devices next year so that in future we have a proper framework for the use of electric mobility devices. It will also facilitate us in promoting the use of such devices. We will also encourage cyclists to wear bicycle helmets to enhance safety. Thank you. That's it from me. All right, we'll now open the floor for members to ask questions. The members who have requested to speak are Mr. Michael Tian, Mr. Andrew Lam, Mr. Frankie Yip, Mr. Gary ZHANG, and myself. I'll assign a 4-minute time limit for now. Questions and answers included. If we have time left after that, we will have a second round of questions. Mr. Michael Tian. Thank you, Chair. The government said specifically the Kaoyu Artificial Island project will not be taken forward and the relevant transport infrastructure projects will not be developed. I will declare here today for Northeastern New Territories, in future, there will be great trouble. This is my prophecy. Please remember what I said today, 17th of October 2025, at the very last meeting of the panel on transport in this term. You talked about Central Rail Link earlier, but this project cannot resolve the issues faced by residents in Northwestern New Territories. When we have millions of Shenzhen residents coming to Hongshui-Q in future, they can't help but take the Twin Mile Line in future. We also have an additional population that is to move into the area, 200,000 to 300,000 of them. From Tuen Mun South to Kam Sheung Road, the 2 Mile Line is already seriously congested. The Central Rail Link will only connect the Northern Link to the 2-mile line. So we have a section that is unsurfaced. I will not argue with you here on this issue today. I want to now turn to the 4th cross-boundary crossing project for Hong Kong. We have seen with recent arrangements, you have seen some traffic shift to using the Western Harbour crossing, but now we have congestion on all 3 crossings, basically. You have really no option. You may choose to increase fees significantly or the tunnel tolls significantly, but it is going to cause a public outcry. You really have to start thinking about having a 4th harbour crossing. If you have to implement a railway project in Tuen Mun, it can be difficult because you have to cross the bay. If you have a 4th cross-harbour crossing that connects to Hong Kong Highland, you can rely on Route 11 that is under construction right now. So it goes from Tuen Mun to Siu Lam to North Lantau. You already have such plans in mind, so having an additional crossing extend from there is much easier for you. You only need to construct a support structure close to Kao Yi Chau. It is probably half the cost of the original idea you have. So the 4th harbour crossing does not cost that much. Will you consider this option? This is my heartfelt suggestion. Thank you.
Who will take the question, Mr. Edward Mack or Miss Angela Lee? I thank Mr. Michael Teen for the comment. I remember when we discussed the policy address in October, Mr. Michael Teen raised the same comment. We don't have a clear timetable for the Kao Yi Chau Artificial Islands Reclamation Project now. With the change and with the Kao Yi Chau project being suspended, we will review whether we will continue to promote the infrastructure projects in the previous infrastructure blueprint. There might be a change in the traffic demand, so we will review this. How come there's no mention of the 4th cross-harbour tunnel in this paper? Well, the government has previously promulgated the transport infrastructure blueprint that has to do with the planning and the long-term strategy for roads, railways, and other transport facilities. We have been to this panel a number of times to talk about the transport strategy, and this transport strategy will look at the positioning of our transportation system as well as the software system. So what we cover in the transport strategy study is different from that in the blueprint. Well, so will you think about this? I just want to know if you will think about the tunnel. Ms. Lee, are you saying that for the infrastructure plan, you have already covered it in the other blueprint, and now for this strategy study, you'll cover other areas, Ms. Lee? Well, we have an overall consideration for our plan. There are different parts to our strategy. We have adopted a targeted approach, and we've divided things into 2 areas. For the overall transportation planning, we do not only need hardware facilities. At the same time, we have to roll out traffic management measures. We have to think about how we can maintain the public transportation-oriented policy. We have to think about our positioning, how we can make use of technology to promote this. Well, I'm just asking about the 4th cross-harbour tunnel. I don't understand what she's talking about. Next, Mr. Andrew Lam. Chairman, I'm looking at this paper. It looks like you have a very comprehensive set of traffic and transport strategies. However, we have to look at the major trend. We have to look at the technological development of our society. Understand that the constraints that we have, but you have to think about what challenges you will face. We have an aging population. There are also needs from the disabled. How can we cater to their needs? You say you're promoting autonomous driving without a human operator. How will you be able to cater to the needs of those groups of people? Also, you are saying that you're building a lot of hardware facilities such as lifts and so on. I'm not against these ideas, but every time we have to kickstart an infrastructure project, we have to put in a lot of money. We've seen a lot of problems in the past. There are some wheelchairs that can get onto staircases nowadays. But this kind of devices are very expensive. Say you pay $1 million and say each of these devices cost $5,000. That's $5 billion in total. It's a lot easier for you to invest in this kind of devices instead of large-scale infrastructure projects. I understand that this may not be under the purview of the Transport Department or the TLB, but we have to think out of the box. We can make use of these devices to resolve a lot of potential traffic problems. Now, coming back to reality. According to the Commissioner, because of our fiscal position, as well as realistic constraints, we have to delay certain projects. So apart from hardware, I hope that you will really look into your software facilities. Say, for example, we can't build as many roads. So what can we do? We do not have enough supply, but we have to meet the demand. I've been calling for electronic road management measures. I hope you will promote these. Also, as Mr. Michael Tin said, in the western part of the northern metropolis, it is a strategic spot. It can be connected with Kowloon, the new territories. And there is a great room for improvement or development in the western part of the northern metropolis. Also, can you devise a policy to control the total number of cars? Well, you need some guiding principles no matter what kind of policies you come up with. I hope the government will look into these. Commissioner, I thank Mr. Andrew Lam for reminding us that we need a vision. We have to be more forward-looking. This particular strategy study focuses on how we can leverage technology and make use of existing roads to expand our capacity. We want to make use of highly efficient traffic management systems to deal with any potential problems, for example, during car accidents. So we really strive to make use of technology to expand our road network and capacity. We're looking at whether there is further room to expand the capacity, and we understand that if we have to build infrastructure, we have to put in a lot of resources. As for electronic road payment and tolls, now with the HKE toll, we do think that there is room for us to roll out the measure as to whether it is appropriate for us to roll out electronic road pricing now. We think that this is not the appropriate time, but with the time-varying tolls policy, we will look at whether we should roll out electronic road management. However, at this stage, we are focusing on expanding the capacity of our existing roads, and we want to make use of technologies in order to ensure effective management. Mr. Frankie Yek, like Mr. Andrew Lam said, I actually support the idea of electronic road pricing in individual roads. We shouldn't wait until there is serious traffic congestion to roll out the measure. I think we have to think about it from the perspective of how we can reduce costs for the government and for the public. Now, for red minibuses, they are facing the biggest challenges now. There are a few hundred red minibuses that are being left idle. However, I don't see how you're going to support them from this strategy study, making use of the resources we have. You mentioned that there will be on-demand support services. I understand that a minibus operator is adopting this model now. I also know that through the LCSDM is rolling out this measure. I support this idea, but I don't think you'll be able to roll out this model very extensively. I just feel that part of the public transportation system has been forgotten by leaving out the red minibuses. Also, I appreciate that you are carrying out a study on demand for parking spaces. I know that you have commissioned consultancy firms to carry out this kind of study before. A few years ago, according to the study, taxis do not need such parking spaces, but things have changed. Taxis also operate at night, and they need parking spaces at night. Just now we've talked about the southbound travel scheme. There will be mainland cars coming to Hong Kong. I believe that you will have an estimate of how many mainland cars you will be allowed to enter into Hong Kong. Well, we hope these mainland drivers will stay overnight in Hong Kong and they need parking spaces. I've been serving this council for some 13 years and I've been telling the administration about the need for parking spaces. There was the ratio of 1 to 1.4 and then it dropped to 1 to 1.1. Recently, we saw a slight increase in terms of the ratio. Well, what is your ideal target? I think ideally you can have the ratio go up back to 1 to 1.3. I hope that you adopt certain indicators as you plan the parking spaces. For commercial vehicles, the ratio is always 1 to 0.6. The ratio is now better in terms of the demand and supply. For nighttime parking spaces, for commercial vehicles, you actually have to consult the district personality. If the commercial vehicles are parked outside shops, I don't think they will get complaints because they won't cause any disturbances. 9 out of 10 of the district's personality object to this nighttime parking idea. I hope you will adopt a different approach when you deal with parking spaces problem. Commissioner. Well, we cannot disregard public transportation in our strategy because 90% of people in Hong Kong, they commute with public transport. Well, this is obvious. That's why we did not talk about it in the presentation. But as mentioned in paragraph 4 of the paper, one of our major principles is to uphold a public transport-oriented policy. Different public transports are playing different roles in Hong Kong, and we'll continue to adopt this model. Minibuses play a very important role in our public transportation system. This is because there are places that are not served by buses, so minibuses do play a vital role. And on parking spaces, moving forward, we will carry out a demand survey. We're doing this new survey because we have to take into consideration different habits of making use of parking spaces of different groups of people or trades. For example, taxi operators or other operators, they may have different demands for parking spaces. We'll take into consideration all these when we conduct the survey.
Mr. Gary ZHANG, Thank you, Chair. I think the framework is quite comprehensive. I just have a few suggestions for the reference of the administration on the smart and green mass transit systems. When we have such systems in areas with quite a high number or quite a high population, it can be a good solution, but it has to be cost effective. It should be remotely operated. We have seen such autonomous options in different parts of the world for many years. It is sad that we have not had such options available in Hong Kong so far. I hope that with future railway standards being promulgated, we can resolve this issue. It's definitely not in this term of the Legislative Council, but maybe in the next term. On autonomous driving, it is said that some applications will be piloted in the Northern Metropolis. Is it the case that applicants will apply for a particular road section to be a zone where they pilot their applications? Or maybe a particular road section will be designated for different applicants to test their applications? What is the model that is going to be adopted by the government? I also suggested for the policy address we will have autonomous cross-boundary connections, say for the Shenzhen Bay Bridge or the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. They have favorable conditions for testing such applications. On development of public transport, I have already talked about this, but I want to follow up on this. Say for buses, arrivals in the mainland, there are apps for the visually disabled so that they can make use of Bluetooth devices to know which bus is now at the station. This technology is not infeasible. It's just that the government is not willing to spend money on this. For bus companies, it will only cost over $10 million, but then it can be of great help to the visually disabled. I also want to say something in English, if that's all right with you. Digital twin. Yes, digital twin. We want to make sure we can have a centralized base where we can monitor the operations of different roads with digital twin technology. Is it possible we can make use of such technology in traffic management? Commissioner, for the smart and green mass transit systems, in future we have 4 such systems and we will conduct tendering soon. Please don't be sad about this. Once we have the expressions of interest, we will have a better understanding of potentially what the operations of the mass transit systems are going to be. As for autonomous driving, the Northern Metropolis is a new development area. We have plans to promote more active transport modes. We are also earmarking space for infrastructure, and we will consider the testing of autonomous driving applications in certain areas such as the science park, whether we can make use of this for transportation of cargoes or for other operations. But we also need to consider how the left-hand drive autonomous vehicles can be adapted to be used in Hong Kong. We will also try to test out other applications. With road planning, we do want to promote inclusiveness. We need to first improve pedestrian environment. We have also been working with different operators, say the MTRC. They have different facilities that are barrier-free in different stations. As for the visually disabled, whether we can work with bus operators to do more is something that we will also look into. If there's time, I will ask my colleague to supplement some information. Sure. Mr. Leung. Thank you. We are establishing a traffic management platform exactly because we are embracing digital technology, and this is a trend globally. The Transport Department itself has much information collected. We will also collect information from operators. We'll consolidate such data and make use of big data analytics and AI to establish this traffic management platform. Mr. Chen Leung, I have a very simple question about paragraph 17 on autonomous vehicle trials and applications. They will be done in different neighborhoods, and the government is promoting commercial applications of such technologies in overseas markets, especially some of the specific markets. But I think the government should not limit itself to certain markets. In future, with Southbound travel scheme, we will have more data on left-hand drive cars operating. So I think we will then have more data not only on right-hand drive operations but also on left-hand drive operations. It will really expand our potential to promote commercial operations of autonomous vehicles in future. Thank you. Commissioner, thank you, Mr. Chan, for your suggestion. We do want to have a platform for promoting both left-hand drive and right-hand drive autonomous vehicles. But what is special about this is that the mainland is already a left-hand drive market. They can already test out left-hand drive applications in different areas because they have fast resources. However, if they want to test out right-hand drive applications, they can test them out in Hong Kong. In that way, we have complementary advantages. In the mainland, they can probably conduct wider tests of left-hand drive. That's just what I'm saying. We can better leverage ourselves as a platform for testing right-hand drive applications. Thank you. Any follow-up questions? None? It's now my turn. Today, we have the government report the latest progress of the Traffic and Transport Strategy Study. I believe the government said the conducting of the Traffic and Transport Strategy Study is to promulgate a transport strategy blueprint. You will collect various data, infrastructure, and strategies. I think they are complementary. Without a strategy, how can you really take forward the development of infrastructure? But before developing infrastructure, you also have to somewhat forecast in the next 5 to 10 or maybe even 20 years the transport demand in Hong Kong. Of course, we do not have a crystal ball. but we need to do so. We also have to consider economic activities associated with development of transportation. So this study is supposed to be forward-looking, and you mentioned this in the paper, but is it really forward-looking? I will not argue with you on the research area set for the study, but I would say for the blueprint that you will publish this year, I'm concerned it may be too simple to be forward-looking. You have the traffic and transport strategy, you have the infrastructure. Even with those, you are being too two-dimensional. You only consider what are on the roads. But with the Transport and Logistics Bureau participating in the working group on developing low-altitude economy, you should adopt a different perspective, because you are now going beyond transport and traffic strategy. You have to consider the traffic and transport strategy for transportation of passenger and cargoes. We already have various sandbox projects testing out different low-altitude economy applications. In your strategy, you should have touched on applications of low-altitude economy, so that with sandbox projects, you can connect the different components. You can then have a three-dimensional traffic and transport system. After that, you can incorporate the development of the Northern Metropolis in the next 5 to 10 years, because you need to test out different applications. For the strategy study, you are just talking about things like conducting a parking demand study to increase the provision of parking spaces, to test out the different ideas. I'm sorry. You should have determined the demand for parking spaces before you promulgate the strategy. You shouldn't be saying you are conducting a parking demand study. I think that's a reversal in the order of priorities. You also need to take a macro perspective, taking into account the increase in the number of vehicles in a certain category with the provision of parking spaces. I will not go on with this further, but can the Commissioner answer my 2 questions earlier? Thank you, Chair, for your comments. On cross-boundary transport, for enjoyable journeys and well-connected city, we touch on cross-boundary transport options. We have plans having regard to the redevelopment projects being taken forward. We are being forward-looking because we are trying to accommodate different cross-boundary activities. Excuse me, Commissioner, I have to stop you here. Let me extend the meeting by 15 minutes because we have 2 members wanting to speak for the second round. Excuse me for interrupting you, Commissioner. I think we can also facilitate data sharing between or within the Greater Bay Area so that passengers can plan their commute in advance. This is something we're looking into. We also talked about some of the options we are planning to introduce in future today. As for low altitude economy, we will have regard to the blueprint with regard to this in the blueprint to be published later. We focus on other areas, but we do want to include that in the blueprint in future. Thank you. I can see that Dr. Chen Hanpan would like to speak. Dr. Chen Hanpan, sorry.
對簡短嘅
Chairman, I'll use the simplest way to ask my questions. I think the government has proposed a great vision. My question mainly concerns left-hand drive and right-hand drive. With assistance driving systems being more and more popular, the difference between left-hand and right-hand drive is no longer an issue. I have previously looked at this problem. A lot of the mainland trucks that come to Hong Kong, they use left-hand drive. And over the years, we haven't seen major issues. This is just a driving habit. With computer driving systems as well as other kinds of driver assistance systems where you have left-hand drive vehicles from the mainland or come to Hong Kong, or left-hand drive vehicles used in Hong Kong. I think a demand-led approach is great. This is to make sure that everyone can get on, for example, a minibus. Can we move towards the vision that everyone can actually have a seat on the bus or on the minibus so that they don't have to stand? And that private car drivers can opt for public transportation. Do you have any concrete measures to promote these visions? Commissioner, on the on-demand approach, we have a very comprehensive public transportation system. We want to, however, strive for excellence because there is room for further improvement. That's why we are proposing the idea of rolling out on-demand public transport services. We want to create a win-win situation for both public transport operators and passengers. For some buses, they only operate in the morning or at night. It might be very costly for bus operators to deploy a lot of bus services. Now, with the advancement of technology, we can perhaps enable passengers to anticipate what kind of services will be more popular. This is our vision, and that's why we are moving towards this direction. And we share the same views with Dr. Chen that we want to provide on-demand services. On the issue about left-hand drive and right-hand drive, with the development of the driver's assistance system, if there are left-hand drive vehicles from the mainland, we want to offer greater flexibility to these cars. In fact, there is a mechanism currently in place to accommodate left-hand drive vehicles, but as to whether there could be a clearer system in place, we will look into this. Now members will speak for a second round. I'll give each member 3 minutes, including questions and answers. Mr. Michael Dean. Thank you, Chairman. My apologies, Commissioner. I actually wanted to ask this question to Deputy Secretary because it might give you a hard time if I direct this question to you, but you as the Commissioner for Transport, I hope you can disclose to us the position of the government on this issue. If you're not building the 4th cross-harbor tunnel, then the 3 existing cross-harbor tunnels will be congested. People who do not want to be stuck in the traffic, they might turn to the public transport. This could be a strategy as well, but then you'll be depriving the public of an additional option. I see that after the traffic diversion approach has been adopted, there has been greater traffic congestion. The government wants more people to turn to public transportation. But there are no concrete measures to realize this. So are you standing firm to not build the fourth Cross Harbor Tunnel? If you are building a fourth tunnel, you should already have a plan. This does not have to involve Khao Yi Chao. You just have to connect the tunnel with Lantau and Route 11. So what is your stance? Can you disclose or tell us about your position in this? Commissioner, as mentioned, originally our plan was to involve Khao Yi Chao in the fourth tunnel project. Now that the Khao Yi Chao project has been shelved, we do not have room to further review this. With the traffic diversion approach, we have yielded results with the 3 tunnels, and now that the approach has been adopted by about a year, we have seen significant results. We see more vibrant economic activities in Hong Kong, and therefore busier traffic in all 3 Cross Harbor tunnels. The Transport Department has to keep monitoring the traffic conditions at the 3 tunnels. We have to keep monitoring whether the diversion approach is yielding results. We will keep collecting data on this. At the portal of the Hong Kong side of the Western Harbour crossing, we're going to build an additional lane. Well, can you simply tell us whether you will study building a 4th tunnel? We will review this because we don't have a concrete timetable yet for the Khao Yi Chao project. According to the Commissioner, the government will look into this, but as to how the study will progress, it will depend on the Khao Yi Chao project. If the government is saying that it will study this, then I'll be happy because it thinks that there's a need to have a 4th tunnel. But if it's not going to look into this, that means there's no need for us to have a 4th tunnel. If the government is going to look into this, I guess it's just a matter of money. Commissioner, will you give a simple reply on this? I think in our infrastructure blueprint, we have already proposed a 4th tunnel. It's just that we don't have a timetable for the Khao Yi Chao project yet. We have to look at the relevant data, the government's financial position, and all the other factors. We don't have a conclusion on this yet. I think the government is bold to make breakthroughs. I believe the government will take forward the study in order to meet the needs of the public. Mr. Michael Teen, as well as a number of other members, are concerned about the existing capacity of the cross-harbor tunnels. I'm confident that the current term government will at least state its position. After reviewing the traffic conditions and after collecting data from the 3 tunnels, it will also take into account the amount of economic activities as well as the anticipated population growth before it makes a decision. Mr. Holden Chow will speak for the first round, but will you let Mr. Gary ZHANG speak for his second round first? Thank you, Chairman. On the smart mass transit system, I'm not saying that there is any problem with the system. I just want to look at the South Island Line projects as an example. From the design and construction, we adopt automated operation, but it's been 10 years. We haven't yet seen full automation. I hope the government can address this. Now, on autonomous driving, I see that there will be a pilot project between West Kowloon Station and Kowloon Station. I've done a site visit myself, and I support the project. However, I'd like to raise one point. I think we need a test, a passenger carrying test. There's no need to do a luggage test. When we enacted 374A, we already has established a framework for carrying passengers. We might have to come up with a new framework under 374A for a luggage transport system. So if we want to make good use of 374A, we have to ensure that we can carry passengers with the autonomous vehicles. Commissioner, we're open to this. We just want to do a wider variety of tests. Of course, we welcome passenger carrying test. That means you will do a test on this. It's just that you are testing luggage transportation first. Is that right? Well, I hope the government will look into this. Of course, the top priority will be safety. I hope the government will speed up its work in this regard. Mr. Holden Chow? My apology, I extended the meeting by 15 minutes until 12:15 p.m. I believe there's enough time to cover your question. Thank you, Chairman. I'll be quick. Paragraph 10 of the paper mentions that the Khao Yi Chao Artificial Islands project will be shelved. Well, the government has already heard my views a number of times. In future, we'll see vibrant development for Hong Shui-Kiu. So it is crucial for us to develop transportation facilities in Tuen Mun East. I want to know if you will continue to carry on with the railway project that links up Hong Shui-Kiu and Tuen Mun East all the way to Sunny Bay. I was told by the government previously that the project would be looked at together with the Khao Yi Chao Artificial Islands project. Now that the Khao Yi Chao project is suspended, can you have a railway project that link up Hong Shui-Kiu, Tuen Mun East and Sunny Bay, and then people can transfer to Tung Chung Line? This is to respond to the needs of the population growth and the traffic demand in future. I think what Mr. Michael Tin and Mr. Holden Chow said are very similar. Without the Khao Yi Chao project, how can we respond to the needs of the public? I hope the government will let us know its thoughts. I have heard members' views. We will take all these into consideration when we conduct the review. All right, thank you. Members have expressed their views on this topic. I thank Commissioner for bringing her team to this item. Thank you. We're wrapping up our discussion here. Now we're moving on to agenda item 4, any other business. This meeting is the last meeting of this legislative session as well as the 7th term LegCo. As the chairman, I'd like to, on behalf of all members, thank the administration for its support and active participation in the work of this panel. As the chairman, of course, I also have to thank all the members, as well as members from other panels, for raising their views in this panel. I would really like to express my gratitude to them and thank you all for supporting me as the chairman. I appreciate that we're able to express our views freely on this panel and that we are able to remind the administration to enhance speed, efficiency, quality, and quantity in improving our public transport facilities. There being no further matters, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. The Legislative Secretariat has been very efficient and a great support. They helped ensure that we held all our meetings very smoothly. Thank you.